Okay, Keisha, we have to figure out what we're gonna do for the theme song.
Ouch.
What do you
Oh
think we
wait,
should
no, no,
do
no,
for
no,
the
no, no.
theme song?
Okay, you want to hear me? Okay, I can beatbox. A dead ass can beatbox.
Okay, what that sound like?
Boots and pants and boots and pants and boots and pants and boots
Yeah,
and boots.
keep doing it.
You serious?
Keep doing it.
Boots and pants and boots and pants and boots and pants and boots
Yeah,
and
yeah,
pants and
yeah. And then you
boots and
gotta come
pants and
in
boots
with like some crazy electric guitar, like.
boots and pants and 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 boots and
Are you ready to riot?
Hey everybody, welcome to the Pink Riot Comic Show, where two black women talk all things comics and pop culture created by black and brown folks. I am Keisha, aka High Havoc, and I'm here with my awesomely, brilliantly, wonderful, talented co-host, Bray. How you doing, babe?
Ooh, I'm doing. I have had an interesting couple of days, but it's been a lot of good things mixed in with the crazy stuff, so I'm good. How are you?
That's good. I'm good. This was a good weekend. My friend Alma came with their partner Grayson, and we just like had the best time. 24 hours of just like missing. Yeah, it was wonderful. Um,
Oh, I
yeah.
love that. That's awesome when you get to kick it with the long distance bestie after it's been a hot minute. So I know that's like
Yeah.
a hodgepodge of feelings because it's like, oh, I get to see you, but it's also like, oh, you have to go so soon type of vibes.
Yeah. It like I was I'm so thankful because like they understand like we can't really travel these days. So like the fact that they came up and was like, hey, we'll kick it for a bit. I was like, I love you.
Oh, yes,
Yeah,
that's
so
what is so needed.
yeah, it was very rejuvenating and it was wonderful to like, especially what we're gonna talk about today, be around people who like I was like, I feel validated because I wasn't feeling so validated looking at things online. So yeah,
Mm,
this has been a really good weekend.
yeah, yeah, I love that. I love that. Okay, I love that we both. At first, I was gonna go by myself, but I was like, because my son was like super pressed and excited to see Toy Story 5. So we
We
made it a
almost went to see that.
yeah, we did a double date, double feature situation. So that was cool.
Oh, that's so
Yeah.
cool.
And it was both of our first time seeing a movie in 4DX. We did both of them in 4DX and it was it was wild, like absolutely
Oh,
wild. Yeah. Yeah.
see, that's
So
cool. We
I love that
definitely,
we seen it in different formats so we can give the like overall experience regardless of how you see it. But yeah,
yeah,
it's so funny. Shout out to New Blurred Order. They wanted me to go see Mandalorian and Grogu in 4DX, but the way that they pop these movies in and out of the theater in that
yeah.
format is crazy. Like soon as the I guess most theaters, because it's like so involved, only have so many like dedicated theater rooms that have 4DX capability. So as soon as like a new movie comes in that has
Hmm.
that format, the older movies get booted out. And
Yeah.
Masters of the Universe came out like right on the heels of that. So Mandalorian and Grogu went out. So I was like, all right, say less. I gotta like pull up to some 4DX movie to be able to show my face over there. So that was cool. Yeah, we just kind of like I said, double featured it, and it was so funny because they were like, "Don't get no popcorn, don't get no nachos, don't get nothing at the
Mm.
because it's
They said
crazy." Like,
protect yourself.
right, like roller coaster ride. They're like, "Don't even waste your money getting snacks that are just gonna end up on the floor." And so I took that to heart, and they were not wrong.
Mm.
Girl, them
Oh,
cup holders are deep because they
oh,
know if it was not, it would be all over the place.
that's fair. But like before we get into all that, just so we can explain, if y'all are not checking the background, if you're not watching it on YouTube, we are talking about like our experience watching Supergirl, which is like a bit of a difference when we're talking about like the things we typically talk about here at Pink Riot. We're usually like all black and brown creators, but we thought this would be really interesting to like do a new segment where we're talking about like graphic novels and their movie adaptations,
Or screen
right?
adaptations. Yeah.
Yeah. So like we decided, hey, Supergirl is out. Let's read the graphic novel that is loosely adapted from, and then let's go and watch it. Like you said, we had very different experiences.
Yeah.
So how, like you said, you already said it, you went and saw in 4DX. How was that?
Yeah. So getting into our, in case we didn't say already, this is Pink Riot's The Book Was Better. And that's just, we're saying that leading into all of these segments, and that's what we're calling it, because as avid readers, as fellow book girlies, that's like a common inside joke amongst readers, like, I don't care what you do, the book is better. So that's what we're calling it, but we are trying to like have real conversations about like how people consume media in general, and
Yeah.
what works and doesn't work with these types of translations and all that sort of thing. So yeah, getting into it. This was my first 4DX experiences. We started
Mm-hmm.
with watching Toy Story 5 because I figured that would be the milder of the two since it's not like action packed. And I was right in that respect. But it did not matter. These
Oh,
4DX,
really?
it is a roller coaster ride regardless. And this stuff starts with the commercials, like the previews that you see before the movie even starts. Some of them have the capabilities in it too. And it was wild. I was like, oh, okay. So if it's like on this level for this movie, I know it's about to be nuts for Supergirl. And I was not
Yeah.
wrong. Um, this,
Hmm.
I feel like my viewing of this movie was like boosted by several points of enjoyment just off the strength of the 40X, because it made the smallest interactions like action packed, and then when it came time for like the actual fight scenes, it was
Oh.
like all over the place, nuts. It was
So
awesome, but it was nuts.
what like small movements were like really set you off in like the 40X situation? Like
So not like, I wouldn't say like small movements, but so for context, for anyone who hasn't experienced 40X before, the seats are like mounted on these panel things, so the seats
mhm.
move, and there's also like these bars that are set up in front of you, and
Mhm.
one is for smells, so they spit out scents. One of them does water and like blast of air. There's also things coming from behind you that are water and blast of air, and then you have all of these things like on the side walls and stuff that also put out like, there was a scene where there was feathers flying everywhere and they dropped these like bubbles, so it looked like the feathers were also flowing in the air above you.
Oh
It did that for
wow.
snow also. um so yeah, and then you have like obviously flashing lights and things like that on the sides that correspond with stuff that's happening. So like
Mhm.
in regular scenes where there's like a shift in perspective or something, the seats like lift and tilt you so that way it feels like you're moving
Mm.
like the zoom of the film. Or like if there's a quick movement or something, you get like a brush of air pushed behind you. Or if you change settings, like um a beach, say you go to the beach or something, you feel the wind kind of blowing in different areas and you get like the mist and stuff like that. So the idea is to like enhance all of your sensory experiences. So like it wouldn't just be like she's walking so you feel her walking. No, it's like
Oh, okay.
anytime there's like a shift of something, they're
Mhm.
going to like add some other extra dimension, so you're feeling it. So it's not like always all of them all the time, but yeah,
Mhm.
so it makes it really cool when, especially like I said, like fight scenes or times where she's flying or something like that, you get that same kind of momentum to sort of enhance your experience. So sorry, that was like a long thing, but there's a lot to it.
Yeah.
And so
Yeah.
it makes a movie like this where she's super powered, so you feel the flight, you feel the impact of the fights. Oh, that's another thing too, like within the seat, if there was parts where she was like punching someone or she got knocked back or something, you feel like that movement in the seat. So there's something,
Mm.
not just like I'm moving like this, like you feel an impact in your like back or your side from the seat. And it's
Okay.
not like aggressive, but it's there enough where you're like, oh shoot, you know what I mean? So like
Yeah.
my son was cracking up laughing anytime any of these things were happening. So that probably also boosted my experience because him just like cackling with his whole body makes me happy to see, period. So it
Yeah.
was like it was nuts. But yeah, so um 4DX is nuts. Definitely boosted my experience to where it would be like me catching things where I'm like, I don't really like that. And then immediately something else is happening. So you're like in the moment for that. But I
Mm-hmm.
literally was like, I'm not going to like take notes per se. I'm just going to like try to experience it for like surface level what it is. And there were moments where I couldn't because it was like, yuck, I don't like that, or that was a
Oh.
choice, or like that sort of thing. So I would say overall watchability, like turn your brain off. Is this a decent movie worth your time? I would say yes, 100%. And 4DX, like it was a good experience. I'm glad that I chose an action movie to watch in 4DX so that I could get the full 4DX experience.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so yeah, that's just my like high level going into it. There were things that I did not like about it that kind of took me out of the movie. And
Mm-hmm.
then the 4DX craziness would bring me right back. So yeah, high level, I feel like I've been talking forever. High level, what was your like just off the cuff watching experience?
Okay, so I saw a standard because while that sounds really cool, my body can't handle all that sensory stuff. It just I can't handle it. So I actually watched it twice. So
Okay,
um
girl.
yeah, right. So I saw it with just me and my husband. We went at like a 9 o'clock show, early as hell. Um
Come on, Black Love.
yeah. Yeah, like we had a good time. We saw the movie and I don't know. I had a lot of thoughts and feelings. So I'm gonna say about a third of the way out, a third of the way into the movie, I had my
Mm-hmm.
phone out and I'm like taking notes during the entire movie, which already said a lot, right? Like
Yeah, yeah.
if I'm not in it like that, that says a lot. But like I had a lot of thoughts and feelings and was questioning a lot in the movie.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and I guess I was okay until, and since we're talking spoilers, I was okay until this one particular scene, um, with this black family that happened. And I
Yes.
know we're gonna get into it, in a little bit, but like after that scene, I was like, all right, there's something going on here that I'm not liking, and I finally
Yeah.
have the language for it. So
Yeah.
I'm like taking notes the whole way through. And
We had the
um
disruption at about the same time.
yeah, okay, good. Cause I've been thinking that I'm being crazy for the thoughts I've been having about this movie for a while. But like watched it, left that first showing and immediately texted you because I was like, oh, look at the time. You're probably on New Blurred Order right now. And shout out to them because I really wanted to
Yeah.
go to it. And that's why I
Aw.
went to the earliest one because I was like, maybe I could get out in time.
But I
So
seen the time. I didn't see the text until afterwards. You totally should have just popped in to see.
I should have. I
Yeah.
really should have. Next time I'm gonna do that because I definitely sent you a text and was like, this is fine, I guess. Like,
Y'all, the way I cackled when I seen this text message, like, but I was like, dang it. Like, I had literally put my phone off to the side so that it wouldn't die. It was charging. And then when I left from New Blurred Order, I seen the text and I was like, dang it. She texted at a time where she could have popped in. But I was
yeah.
cackling at that message because I'm like, girl, same. It's like that type of energy. But
Yeah, like it's fine. And I'm really saying I guess because the more I, analyze the film, the more it falls apart for me. And
Mm,
so I
mm.
got home like around 1 o'clock. My friend got to the house like maybe 30 minutes later, and I'm still ranting and raving about this movie. And they're like, all right, well, let's go eat, let's watch it. And I was like, cool. So then the four of us go out to eat.
Yes, please
And
come watch this so we can pick it apart together.
like shout out
That's
to
a true
friends.
friend.
Right. So like we go out to eat, and mind you, the first showing that I went to, it was at 9 o'clock. So there was only like 5 people in the theater,
Yeah,
right? This
matinee
next one,
vibes.
yeah. Next one, we went to a completely different city at the night. So like it was almost completely packed
Yeah.
for that like 7 o'clock PM showing that we went to.
Hmm.
And I went there just, slightly buzzed. I was having a great time.
Love that for
And I
you.
was right, like enjoying myself. Sat down for that second show and was like, yep, I was right.
Hmm. Yeah.
I was right. And nobody's about to talk me off of this.
Oh,
This
period.
is, yeah, like I was right about this. And then that's when like the four of us came home analyzing the crap. Like I'm not gonna say we ripped it to pieces, but like we did. Like there was just so many questions and so many things we all had concerns about. Woke up the next morning. I ended up watching Superman. Like,
Or like further research, y'all. The Blurred
yeah,
Library, everyone.
because I'm like, because I go online and I'm seeing so many people say, yeah, I enjoyed it. I loved it. People who, or the ones that were really getting me were the ones that was like, people who don't like this movie don't like women. And I'm like, we weren't watching the same movie because
Yeah.
no, like we weren't watching the same movie. And I'm like, I need to make sure that I have the language to say everything I need to say
Hmm.
because this is a problem. So like read a bunch of articles, read a bunch of reviews, watched a lot of reviews, and like I said, I have a lot of thoughts.
I love that you did this like absolute deep dive because the way that we're on like it seems like we're locked in about like our thoughts about potentially where the movie fell short just based on where you're describing you kind of like got pulled out of it also because we're on the same page about
Hmm.
that. But I just seen it the one time. I had like a lot of things boosting my experience. I chatted briefly with the good folks at New Blurred Order about it. And they gave it middling reviews also.
Hmm.
Um, but like Vince hadn't seen it, so we couldn't go too deep into like spoilers and whatever. So
Hmm.
we didn't get to touch base on a lot of things, but it was interesting to see like it didn't take, you know, a deep dive and like literary expose to like come out with the same, you know,
No,
take of,
absolutely not.
oh, this really took me out of it. And I was cracking up laughing because Bad Ty pretty much was like he had a similar experience to you where there was other people in the theater and there was like a collective kind of sigh of like, oh,
Yeah.
from the audience. I didn't have that perspective because it was literally like the showing that we went to was Friday night at like 10 p.m. because that was the only showing I was going to be able to see to be able to make it in time for New Blurred Order the following morning.
Hmm.
So there was only like a handful of people in the theater, and we're all 40x in it, so I wouldn't have heard anything that they did anyway. Um, but yeah, it was so there. It wasn't just us. There was like middling experience from a lot of people. But what's interesting is it's four different ways. So I was like, oh, I can't
Yeah.
wait to tap in with my sis about this because yeah, I want to say, like, going into it, were my expectations high about what this
Mm.
movie would be? No.
No.
I didn't go into this expecting it to be some, and that sounds away, but I think it's important
Yeah.
because I didn't go into this expecting it to be like a true feminism, power to the people, good representation. Like I knew better.
Yeah.
We know better. We have consumed enough of these type of superhero movies where we know like it's a if and or but so type of situation with a lot of
Yeah.
the things. So I
Yeah.
didn't expect it to be like all of that. I didn't expect it to be groundbreaking in terms of it
No.
being like a general
You,
superhero movie that was enjoyable to watch and all of that. They did a lot of the like stereotypical things that you're supposed to do, but then when
hmm
you try to like put that, oh, it's a, if you watch this and you didn't like it, it's because you don't like women. It's like it begs the question of like what lens are you watching this through, like because they, if you're looking at like the surface level things that they did to try to make a feminist statement, it's like okay, cool, surface level,
but they
maybe.
undercut it
Uh,
so many
so
times.
dramatically, yeah, yeah.
Like
So
the yeah, like that I think that was my biggest issue, that there were strong it's like there was a strong attempt at feminist themes,
hmm
but then because of the type of characters they had, because of certain characters' actions, like they just at every turn they undercut it. They yeah, like in some of the most egregious ways possible. So it's like I personally think, and I know this might offend some people, but like you if someone is watching it and they only see it like, oh, this thing happened, therefore it's like I really want you to ask yourself what was happening, what was the reaction, what was the motivation. Like if you're not asking all those questions, then like I can see how you came to this conclusion that it was strictly like a feminist thing when like in reality I felt like the movie was it spoke to trad wives and white feminism.
yeah, it's giving Don your pussy hats.
Yo, it does. And like, I think that was the most disappointing thing.
Yeah, because you want like a girl power style movie to do well,
Hmm
even if they don't hit every nail on the head. You still like want to root for them in the hopes that something will go well about it. So that tells people, oh, people are willing to spend their dollars on this type of thing, so let's make more of those types of movies. So
Yeah.
yeah, like I said, going into it with like zero expectations but still rooting for it because it's a girl movie is like
Yeah.
kind of disappointing. Like I set the
Yeah.
bar really low and it was not
Yeah.
met. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Like, I personally always enjoyed, I don't think I've ever come across a Supergirl in any kind of media where I did not enjoy her as a character.
Mhm.
Right. And this is just me being like a casual fan of her, very, very casual. Right.
Yeah. hmm
Um, because like I enjoyed the CW show for whatever it was. Like I enjoyed it, turn your
Oh,
brain
I'm
off,
not a
have fun.
CW girly like at all.
What?
Yeah,
So
I
like
just
the bar for me was never like super high, right?
right. Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
but like I don't know. I guess maybe with this one, okay, I did go in with some expectations because we have read the graphic novel. I was
hmm
like, at the very least, I expect Ruth to be there as her travel companion.
Yeah, yeah, because
Um,
it said based on. So when you say it's
right,
based on, I'm like, it's not going to be a direct copy,
right.
but the gist of the story, the essence, and the main characters, you are kind of expecting to be there.
Right. So
Yeah.
like I was expecting that, and
hmm
I was expecting some kind of feminist messaging
Yeah.
because that's what happens in the graphic novel.
hmm
Right? So like bare bones, that's all I was going in with.
mm
Because you do understand, like, people, we got to understand that just because it says based on, and I'm not saying this to you, I'm just saying like in general, like just because it says that is based off of it, we understand the adaptations, they do what they want, right?
Right. Which
So
is why I didn't have the expectation of the like feminist message at all. I was like,
oh
if it's going to be connected to the current already existing DC movies that are out right now. I did not have that expectation, even though it's somewhat there in the book. I was like, okay, we're going to get a Supergirl story. She's going to be like not your typical stereotypical lady,
Yeah.
and she's going to be like on some mission about, you know, protecting her dog, because that was clear in the like previews and commercials and whatever promotional stuff.
Yeah.
And she'll be in space, and they didn't go for like the typical bombshell type of girly that they would, you know, historically put in this role. So I was like, okay, so we're going to get a little like grunge perspective, and they're trying to like punk it up. Like all of the promotional stuff that came to my algorithm was very much like targeted. Like I
Mm-hmm.
I haven't seen a superhero movie that partners with like Ulta for commercials. They
Oh,
literally had like, you know, her doing her makeup but no makeup look with products from Ulta, like in her casual Supergirl suit. You know what I mean? Like, so I was
yeah.
like, okay, this is how they're pitching it to the girlies. Like, you know, like non-traditional beauty, like girls get it done too, whatever, that type of thing. That's what I got from the promos for it. So I was like, okay, cool. It's gonna be a girl and her dog story. Just it
And
happens to be in
that's what it
space.
is.
Yeah, 100%.
Very much a girl and her dog
Yep.
story. Um,
So
so I
that's why I
guess
was like, that was the only expectations that I went in with it, and they did do that. They did. So I was like, okay, that at the very bottom basement least of it, they did not lie to us about what this movie was going to be. So I was like, all right, cool. That's
yeah.
fine. That's fair. And I was like looking at what I will say they did lie in respects to the story is that we knew that Lobo was going to be an insert because he's not present in the graphic novel. Um, but and it was Jason Momoa, so I'm like, period, I'm gonna love that regardless. But it was very much pitched like he was gonna have some major part in the movie,
And that
and he did
wasn't
not. He was
no.
like it was like Lobo's on his side quest doing his bounty thing, and he just happens to be looking for a dude that's in the same clique of the villain that Supergirl is dealing with. So their paths crisscross at like 2 points.
As great as he was very unnecessary.
Oh, to the
Like,
movie for sure, for
yeah,
sure.
completely
I
unnecessary
it
to
would
the
have
plot.
felt better if they hadn't told us that he was going to be in the movie, and it was like a pleasant surprise. Like
Yeah.
you got the cameo. Everybody loves to see Jason Momoa. Like do that, let that boost it after the fact. So the fact that they pitched it where it was like he was going to be an integral part of the movie makes me feel like they knew, well, let's throw this famous face on there to try to make more people come see it, even though he's
Which,
not super in it for real.
yeah, like, which is once again disappointing because like the actress who plays Supergirl, um, Millie Wright Alcock, I believe, like
I don't know her name. Let
she
me.
she was like one of the best things I'm gonna say about this movie was that she took her role and did a wonderful, phenomenal job,
Yeah,
right?
I
Just
can't say anything
performance
against any
wise,
of the actors in this movie for real.
none of them. They embodied their characters. It
Yeah,
was, you know, they did the best. Some of
yeah,
them did the best they could with what they got, but some of them was just like she is Supergirl.
yeah.
Like
Yeah,
even
Millie
if they
Alcock ate the role up,
yes,
considering what she was given. Yeah,
absolutely. She did a phenomenal job and I think anyone who speaks ill of that
is being a
I
hater.
right. Cause like, yeah, that's the one thing I don't think anyone should ever be able to say anything negative about. She did a wonderful job,
Yeah, I
you
mean,
know.
same thing with the other girl Ruth, and also the girl who played Ruth, and then also Jason Momoa. Like Was his role necessary? No, but did he deliver
He
as
did good.
Lobo?
Yeah,
Yes. Yeah.
yeah. I think
And
where
the
my
girl who played Ruth, her name is Eve Ridley. She did a
hmm
really good job, and I
yeah.
felt like her portrayal of her character was the closest to matching the vibes that I got from the character in the book,
See, I didn't even go in
personality
with
wise. Yeah.
that. I didn't even go in with that. Because I think, well, I immediately got rid of that. Once I realized that they made certain changes from the graphic novel to the movie.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like once they changed up like her father's what is it? Her father's job from the farmer to the swordsman, I was like, "Oh, cool. Whatever Ruth was in that book does not exist in this movie in the slightest."
See,
And
I
so,
didn't do that because they changed the circumstances of it. So, for context for everyone listening, we're giving spoilers. So, I
yeah.
hope you would figure that out by now, but the spoilers are going to happen. So, if that's not your vibe, go watch it or read it and then come back. But yeah, we're giving you fair warning. But no, so the difference is that we're referring to is that in the book we have the same kind of setup in terms of a tragedy befalling Ruth, and the people who were responsible for that also negatively or hurting Crypto,
hmm
Supergirl's dog. Okay, so in the book it's literally just Ruth and her dad, and her father is a farmer who
hmm
gets murdered by this person. Okay, in the movie she has like her whole family there.
Well, she had a whole family in the graphic
I feel
novel.
like it's so the reason why I'm saying that particular difference is because it happens on screen where you see them all get killed in
Oh
front of.
yeah, the whole family
Yeah, the
dies in the
whole
movie.
family, and she's literally right there in the room when it happens. That's not
Yeah.
how it's
No,
depicted in the book.
you're right. Yeah.
But also in the movie, the father is like this well-renowned sword maker. Like,
hmm
people throughout the movie mention his name and their ears perk up like, "Oh, somebody has one of that dude's swords." Like all the brigands they come across, all the bad guys, the seedy characters in the bars and whatever that they come across, when they hear his name, they're like, "Oh, where's that sword at? I'm trying to steal that." Like, so you're understanding that his level of like craftsmanship and skill and whatever, it's like everybody knows about this dude, for regardless of their like species and all of that. And they're like,
hmm
"Oh yeah, I want to get my hands on that sword," because Ruth, the daughter, is essentially, she has survived the attack on her family, and she goes out looking to find someone to help her exact revenge on Krem. I believe that's
Right.
his name.
Yeah.
And
Creme of
so
the
she's
Yellow
like,
Hills.
yeah, from the Yellow Hills. That's important. They did match that exactly in the movie. And they're
Yeah.
like, she's like, "I will, if you agree to do this for me, I'll give you this sword as payment once I've been able to, kill him as revenge or whatever, and then it'll be done." And everybody literally has the same thought of like, "Yeah, cool story, kid. We're gonna steal your sword."
I think
um,
that's where my like biggest issue was for like
mhm.
a number of reasons. So I was like, this movie may not turn out well.
Oh
Um,
no.
yeah, it happened fairly early
Okay.
and I think it, like I said, I think it got cemented in that one alley scene that we're gonna talk about later on. But like, so like comparing it to the graphic novel, right? Um, it was the fact that in the graphic novel, this the story is told through Ruth's perspective, right?
Yeah.
So we
Future
get
Ruth.
a right, like it's a flashback and all of that. So like we're getting a lot of Ruth's personality and all of that, and through her family, you come to realize that she comes from like a very strong mother who is like a badass in her own right, or like she's able to like wrangle like these four brothers together and all that stuff, and like wishes her well on, the journey that she's having or whatever. And so like in that family structure, you can see how Ruth has always had like a certain strength to her.
Mm-hmm.
And like what happened to her father just kind of became a catalyst for revenge, but like she still had that there.
Yeah.
Whereas by one shifting the POV, which we all knew was going to happen, it was going to be shifted on the car because this is her movie.
Yeah.
But then like shifting it from the father being a farmer to a swordsman, what they ended up doing was placing more importance on the sword rather
Yeah.
than like who Ruth was as an individual. And so we lost a lot of who she, like all of that personality and all of that strength.
Hmm.
For me, like she ended up becoming more of a damsel in distress rather than, yeah, I felt that like even in the bar, because like, okay, you switch it from the dad being a swordsman, but then like realistically, if this swordsman is well known amongst the galaxy, right? And he thought that these Bergens were gonna come to eventually and come harm him or take everything, why not train your family in some way? Right? Like nobody, there was no real train. There was nothing there that said that this family protected themselves in any way.
Ah, so
Yeah.
I get how it could take away from it, but I have to disagree on a few little points. Not that it's entirely wrong, just that there was some little specks of it there in the movie. It just didn't land as hard as it probably should have in order to maintain Ruth as a character, the way that we would have viewed her from the book. So like the in terms of the mother's strength, when the brigands come, the first thing that comes across is the dad is like, "Oh yeah, they're here, or whatever. We know what they're trying to do," and the mom is like immediately the badass out of everybody because she's like,
Give you that.
"Okay, well, we're gonna give them. We know what they're coming to do. We're gonna give them what they want, and then they'll leave." Like she kind of took control in that scenario, and he took a backseat and kind of just listened to that. So I was
Mm-hmm.
like, okay, we get the examples. Like dad is a badass in his own right because he's making these swords that everybody's going to come for or whatever. Then we
Mm-hmm.
have the villain come in, and it's clear, and he's like, oh, is that pie or whatever. He's like a jerk, obviously, as a villain kind of should come
Mm-hmm.
across. And the mom is just like, she doesn't even say anything. She just serves him up the pie like, here, have it, damn, type of thing. She doesn't say it, but she does do that. And then when we see interaction where the brother was like in another room listening to music, and he like sees that his sister is looking at something, but he had headphones on, so he didn't hear the interaction of anything else that's going on. And he like jumps out to like surprise slash scare slash prank the sister, which results in Krem killing him. And then the
Yeah.
mother immediately jumps into
Goes off.
action,
Yeah.
is like going off to, try to kill him and slash avenge her son. And the father did take some, was it enough?
Some.
Absolutely not. But
It
they did have
wasn't.
some type of plan in place because he was able to press a button and activate an explosion outside. I don't know what exactly that was supposed to do, but there was some type of measure of that there. And we also see that whether she was in shock or whatever, she did not move from the spot. That was the craziest part about that. But
Yes.
it also, to me, kind of rang as like, I feel like if she had been fully just a damsel, she would have like fallen apart in that moment
Not
and maybe wouldn't
necessarily.
have been able to immediately jump up and go to the next thing, which would be revenge.
So, like, I hear what you're saying.
Mhm.
I still stand by the fact that she was made to. Okay, so maybe I'm using the wrong phrase because, like, yes, she has revenge. She has this anger, right? She
Mhm.
has this thing that she wants to do and that she's actively searching for. But, like, at every turn she is turned away from that, right? She is told constantly she can't do it, that's not her place, da 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 da, and it's done by Kara.
Yeah, that
um
part I did not like because that's not their relationship in the book at all. Like,
it's
so
not.
I hear what you're saying about the drastic difference in personality, because that was one thing that bothered me. So for context, for y'all listening or watching, in the book, Ruth slays a freaking dinosaur on one of the
Mm-hmm.
planets that they go to visit. Like, she's nice with it. She
Yeah.
the same kind of thing happened in terms of, the green uh sun affecting Kara negatively to where she can't use her powers and she's like hurting and
Mm-hmm.
near death and all that or whatever. So that actually happens, and Ruth protects her from these giant dinosaur esque creatures
Yeah.
with her sword. So it's
Keeps
like,
it safe.
okay, we get to see that level of badassery. Like, she wasn't completely helpless. She could hold her own. She just wanted to make sure that she had some type of support in this mission because
Yeah.
she, was
And
core to her
she
planet. So she didn't have the wherewithal to figure out how to find these other people. But she was like, I got the skill set to manage this revenge and kill this person on my own. I just need help getting there. Whereas in
yeah.
the movie, she's literally like, oh, I just have this sword for whoever can deliver this for me or whatever. And there is more
And
of a
that's
measure of like naivete, I guess, because you
and that's
can't
what I'm
go
saying.
in
Like,
leading with your bargaining chip. And I will say
right.
that kind of pissed me off because there were several moments where I thought it was coming because she pulled the sword out. Like, I get what you're saying about putting more importance on the sword itself than the
Mm-hmm.
actual like dynamic of her and her family and whatever. Because she pulled that sword out several times in a like kind of dramatic fashion. Like, you heard the
The
sheath like
sheen.
scraping the sword. Yeah, the little sheen sound when you pull out a dope sword. So I was like, oh shit, she's about to show us
But she
some,
couldn't handle it. Like
yeah, there was
she
never a time where
and
she showed skill with the sword. They did give her some moments where she was like, she did defend herself against one of the brigands when she was in the jail, like physically
which
was able to maneuver
also
how small she was in comparison, like around him and all that. But
that also did not make sense. Okay, no, I'm sorry. I like not to like cut you. Like that scene didn't make sense when you compare it to what happened in the beginning of the thing. Because if we compare the sizes of both those guys, like the alien who like pulled a sword from her and like screamed in her face and then walked away, versus like the brigand who she ended up choking out in this like tiny cell where she was like up against the bars, and she was actually like mindful of like the poisonous stuff that was on the barbs and all of that. Like, if she was able to do that, and just mind you, like this movie takes place within a 3 day span, which
yeah,
I'll talk about. Like, I also had an issue with that kind of like time urgency, because that made a lot of other things in this movie not make sense.
yeah,
So
for
like,
context for those listening, in the book, it
yeah,
takes place over the course of
months.
months. Yeah.
Yeah.
And that
So
we'll touch more on that later, but continue. I'm
yeah,
sorry.
so like taking it from the months in the graphic novel to the 3 day, Disney plot that we usually get, you know, day two and a half, she's able to like hem up this guy who is like three times her size, three, four times her size, but the same size guy on day one, just yelled in her face. Like, where was that
I feel
strength
like
from
the
day
dude
two and a
from
half?
I feel like the dude from the bar and the first like encounter was massive in comparison. Like, I don't think he would have fit
No.
into the cell because if
It is not even like
they
it's not
show the
even just
size
about the
difference
size. It's the
between him
fact
and
that
Kara
it's
when they're
it's the fact
fighting,
that
and he's a lot
she had the
bigger.
courage to fight this other guy, right? She
The
had the
other guy,
courage to do all that stuff and the strength to do all of that. Where was that in the beginning?
if we're being so for real though, like the time, it's literally like the same day or the rather the next day, right after all of this stuff has happened. So we are taking into the fact that she's a young person who just saw all of her family get murdered, and she's probably running on adrenaline and all these other things. And to be fair, she didn't shy away from that. Kara literally told her, "Wait over there, I'll go talk to him." So I don't think that she was lacking the gumption to try to do that. And then I also disagree with you about the size of him, because Kara fights that dude in that scene. He's like a lot bigger than her. Like, you see the size of the mount that he was getting on to ride away. And if you're looking at like the comparison of, because he takes her sword, and if you look at the comparison of the size of the sword to the mount and him and all of that, I feel like that dude was significantly larger. And I wouldn't compare the two like in terms of Ruth's resilience or ability to fight, because she literally just followed Kara's instructions and stood to the side in that scenario. But I do
She
100%.
didn't follow Kara's instructions most of this movie.
That was also their first encounter. So I left room for that. Do I agree with you about the fact that they took away a lot of the badass things about Ruth? 100%. Do I agree with you that there was more opportunities to let her be the character that she was meant to be to the story? Yes, there was a lot of missed opportunities, and they were literally right there. And it wouldn't have taken a lot or time or whatever. But yeah, they did some weird stuff with the relationship between Kara and Ruth for sure, because in the movie, Kara's like telling her, "Oh, don't do that. You need to do this, whatever." Da, da, da. It was like flip flopped kind of in the book, in terms of that. But
It
and it
was.
made, yeah, I don't think that it was to the extent that you're saying about those particular differences, but I do agree that they definitely took a lot away from her character in terms of her power and ability. And they did damselfy her, but it was coming from Kara in the movie, which to me takes more away from it. Because like the
Yeah.
scene where there's another scene where when they get to the other after they've decided that, okay, the crypto gets shot by this venomous thing, okay, that is the same type of thing that happens in the book. And they're like, okay, we have to go find Krem in order to get the antidote for this. So that those things are the same in the book and in the movie. They're going off to find, they're pretty much following a breadcrumb trail. That also kind of takes away from the intensity of what's going on with the villain, why we would even view him as a villain. So in the book, they're doing this over the course of months, and they go to several planets where this dude, along with this other group of people that he's joined up with, have um have conducted a genocide essentially, and destroyed like whole groups of people on each of
Mhm.
these different planets. And they're still like kind of following them along. That definitely gets like beyond minimized in the movie, because it turns into, it's just the, well, not just, because
It was
that's a whole,
trafficking.
yeah,
Yeah.
it turns into trafficking. And they're keeping these brides to maintain this all male um
All male
group of
race.
people,
So,
race of
yeah.
people. Yeah, and it's like, okay, why was that necessary? Like, I get not wanting to touch genocide in a movie because that's huge, but it's
Hmm.
also like, of all the things that it could have been, if this is supposed to be like a feminist take or a girl power movie or whatever, it's like, a okay, so you make all of these women victims, and they come across these people in, I'm getting ahead of myself, in the bar that all of this stuff happens. There's a male and female, they're obviously married couple who are the owners of the bar,
Hmm.
and they are like, okay, we can help you find this person through a friend. And these are the first black people that we come across in the movie. and they
Yeah.
go. Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, no, no. I'm saying they're the first uh with who are not alien. Like, because there were some um where you can tell like whoever the actress or actor was, like
Yeah.
they are.
So yeah, the singer in the first bar,
Mm-hmm.
she looked like a black person who had
Mm-hmm.
extra things to look more like an alien, and
Mm-hmm.
she didn't die. So technically, the first person to die, first black person isn't the first person to die, but the first human presenting black people are the owners of this bar, and they're like, okay, we can take you to our place and find and introduce you to our friend who can tell you where this person is or whatever. And we find out that Krem, that's when we find out about the trafficking issue. This person Krem like gave them a poison to administer to Supergirl, so that way by the time they showed up she would be paralyzed and whatever, and they could take both her and Ruth in play and give them their daughter back who they had already kidnapped. But they're not counting on the fact that Supergirl is Supergirl, so she's able to like withstand the poison to some measure, and she's like going in their fridge getting milk, trying to coat her stomach and all this other stuff, whatever. But it comes out that the people show up, Krem and all of his people show up, and he's like, "Oh, we had a deal, you know, it does she doesn't look very poisoned to me or whatever." And he's like, basically he's like, "Well, we had a deal and you broke it, so now your daughter's going to die."
Mm-hmm.
And all hell kind of breaks loose from there. And I'm sorry, I feel like I've been describing this for a hot minute. If you want to interject, we can switch it
No,
up.
he ends up like kill well, he ends up like after this whole battle that happens where the prisoners were released, because like that's another thing I got really irritated with, like if the these horrible Bergens were using the term bride, it grated my gears, but I understand why that was the case. It was
Yeah,
when Ruth was calling them that, like when they got called that by other people,
yeah,
like that just bothered me a lot. So I'm gonna call them what they are. They were prisoners, you know,
yeah.
like so like after they were all released, you know, Krem ended up following one of them. And this is like another scene where Kara took away Ruth's agency,
Hmm.
where Ruth was hunting down Krem. Krem was trying to follow the daughter who had ran, and Ruth almost had him, right? Like she was right there. And then Kara pulled her back from it. And because of that, not only did the parents get killed, but so did the daughter in this alley.
Yeah,
And that was a time where I was like, this is making me uncomfortable. Not just because this black family just got murdered in cold blood in an alley,
and it's
or
on
black
screen. It's not
presenting,
like,
right?
yeah,
Right? Because it's not that wasn't the first group of people that Krim had killed in the movie, but like there was something about that that really bothered me, and I think it was because of the argument that Ruth and Kara had like immediately after, where Ruth was like, "How dare you? I this was supposed to be for me. I was supposed to do this," and Kara was like, "No, you can't do that." And Ruth is like, "Yo, look around. He is leaving a wake of devastation. And like, you know, we're dealing with now understanding that trafficking has happened
yeah,
and the fact that he is like killing people without a single thought.
yeah.
Um and
Killing people
Carl's
and
like,
kidnapping
no,
people.
right. And Carl's like, no, I still need my dog.
Yeah,
And that's what really pissed me off. Like, how
yeah,
would you undercut such an important theme? Like if we're going to be if we're going to do this and speak about how these things shouldn't happen to women regardless of race,
yeah,
why would you undercut it so sharply by, instead of having Kara at that time focus on, you know, like, oh, you're right, like maybe you're right and maybe I do need to think about these things, right?
yeah. Because
Instead
there's
of having
parallels there. She literally lost all of her family,
right,
but that
right,
wasn't what. it was just like, oh, but my dog. And this is after
Right.
her finding that he has killed two full families of people.
Yeah, like she didn't make a change. She just was like, no, my dog. And from that moment on, the rest of the movie, I kind of was, I was worried that first watch where I was like, please don't let this just be about this dog. Like, we can't talk about trafficking, something this serious, right? And undercut it this way and then spend the entire movie just trying to save this dog.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Yeah.
and to get to the end of the movie and find out that it was in fact
Yeah.
about the dog, it
Yeah.
very much reminded me of how the show Community, where one of the girls was like, I can excuse racism and something, but I draw the line at animal cruelty. And they're like, you
Yeah.
can excuse racism. Like
100%. That was the moment where it was like, oh, my good sis needs one of those pink pussy hats that they were
yes.
boycotting in, because it's like, okay, forget everybody else. That doesn't pertain to me specifically, so
Right.
I don't care. I absolutely don't care. And she literally, the fact that she doesn't say I don't care, but the fact that she actually says that to Ruth of like, you're not going to get in the way of,
This is
this
me
for my
saving
dog.
my dog. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like, you do real.
That's a
She's literally
stand.
doing this because her entire family was murdered, and she just checked you about stopping her, and that resulting in this entire other family being murdered, and you don't even flinch about it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Does not. She holds her ground on such a flimsy foundation.
yeah,
And that was disappointing. That I think that's where most of my disappointment came through
yeah,
in this movie. And I was like, I don't even think I can say this is fine.
yeah. That scene when the entire black family gets murdered, like in the alleyway, was where I was just kind of like, it's odd how certain things kind of pop up in your mind, because I was like, damn, all of them died. And then I was like, and none of the other brides died. Supergirl was saving everybody, and she literally goes, that's all of them, run, go. It's like, but it's not.
I mean, like,
It's
even if
not
she,
all of them.
right,
And yeah,
even if she didn't know that, the daughter was out somewhere else, right? Like, even if she didn't know that, I feel like there was like no real space to ponder the mistake that was made, right? She just
yeah,
walked away and was
yeah,
like, well, that's that.
yeah.
Like,
And there was no like immediate danger after the other people had left, and it was still just like they're just laying in the alley.
and like even when she flew up into space and like but it was a beautiful shot of
Scene.
her in
Yeah,
space, screaming. You can't hear it, but you can
yeah, because the vac.
feel
Yeah,
right, and you could like feel the hurt, the anger, all of that. I couldn't quite believe that that was because of what just happened down there. I couldn't believe that that was it wasn't just because of her dog and like her loss and her and everything she's gone through and how all of this is impacting her. And for me, having a superhero who is very self-centered in that way, and I know we'll probably get into this a little bit later, but having a superhero who's so self-centered in that way, like I know she will eventually grow and become something different and better. But to be introduced to her this way, it just, once again, just disappointing.
yeah, that kind of touches on to another piece of it too. Like they really heavily leaned into the idea of her, because they did match it up that it was her birthday, and she was like kind of drinking away her sorrows or whatever, before all of these events of all of this stuff takes place. And I cracked up laughing because one of the people on New Blurred Order mentioned that like for like the first 30 minutes we don't even see her with powers, and I was like, that's facts. Like, so she intentionally is off world, and goes to this other planet where the type of sun that's there would negate her powers so that she can get even more drunk. So they're correct. For like the first 20-30 minutes of the movie, she does not have her powers. And there's like a whole like montage of her just drink, vomit, sleep, wake up, repeat type shit. And
I
it's
won't
kind of
hold you. She portrayed that very well.
yes,
She
yes.
did
There
a
was
damn good job with that.
yeah, and I was like, this is interesting because it wasn't quite like that in the book. She did have kind of like a I'm not going to be your typical blonde hair, blue eyed, whatever, because she was dropping F bombs all throughout the book and whatever.
Yeah.
But the whole like drinking away my sorrows thing wasn't to that extent in the book. And in the movie, I was just kind of like, I guess they had to introduce her to us in some type of way, and that was their way of
Yeah.
saying like she's not going to be your typical superhero because she doesn't even accept that that's what this is. She's literally just doing her best to exist because she didn't want to come here in the first place. She didn't want to be anywhere superpowered. When they show the flashbacks of her circumstances that led to her being on Earth with her cousin Superman,
Yeah.
it's the whole conversation between her and her dad is pretty much like he's like, we're going to do what we can to send you to the same place as your cousin because everyone here is dying from this radiation exposure and we don't want that for you. You're going to be the one to live on or whatever, and you'll have tremendous power there because of la la la, proximity to the sun, da, da, da. And she literally tells him like, I don't want that. I want to be here with you guys. I would rather die of this too than to go on without you, whatever. So you get this like really like raw, powerful scene where
Mm-hmm.
it's clear like she has zero intentions of being a Supergirl or giving a shit about anybody else because she's already like, I didn't want to be here anyway. I didn't. I would have rather stayed there with my family and everyone that I know and
Mm-hmm.
just met my end with them than to have this current existence. So I get that she wouldn't be like a typical model hero or taking everyone into account at every turn, but in terms of the dynamic of similarities and dynamic of the fact that she lost all of her family and Ruth lost all of her family. And then we just seen this entire family lose their lives to this person. I would have expected it to like activate her on another level, even if she was just going to strictly be this selfish person who only thinks of herself. To completely miss that similarity in experience is wild, but it's not unfamiliar. And that's why we made the like pussy hat reference, because it's like, get a fucking grip. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Yeah. Um, I think one of the issues I had was that Kara equated her pain and her trauma to what, Ruth went through. I think
Mm-hmm.
because, like, yes, they all lost something, and at that very base level, that
Yeah.
is true.
Yeah.
But Kara lost all of her people because of a geological, you know, disaster,
Yeah.
right? I find that to be very different than like your entire family being slaughtered,
Yeah. a hundred
you know,
percent. 100%.
and
I'm
so
not
like,
comparing in that way. I'm just saying,
right,
like, at the very least, you should understand Ruth's feeling
right,
in terms of her loss. Yeah.
right. I feel like she should have like made that connection
Right. Like,
and
if
be like,
you
you're
had
right, let me take a
something that
beat.
you could point a sword at as being the responsible party to why you lost your family, you would be just as vehement in your,
Yeah.
goals to get revenge. So yeah, that was completely missed. Another thing on a less serious note, another thing that kind of pissed me off about that whole flashback and whatever, because I loved the way they set that up. The world looked really cool. They set
Yeah.
everything up and described, the circumstances of how, that she didn't lose all of her family in like one explosion of the planet. They had like, I was like, that whole little
That was really
scenario was cool as
interesting.
shit. I
Yeah.
enjoyed that piece. But one thing that pissed me off was like and this is really childish, but whatever. I know you'll love me anyway. The the vessel that her father made for her to leave and go to Earth, it was
Hey,
very much a board, the
two-seater.
board of the Titanic, because we both know that Rose could have saved Jack. They both could have fit on there. And I'm looking at this
Well,
capsule. I'm like, her and Crypto can fit in there, but that was a whole dome, like a whole ball. So
like you
they
mean to tell me
literally,
you had your brother's plans, you made it bigger,
right,
but then you don't make it big enough.
right. Just it was just shy. And I'm just kind of like, I'm sorry, babes, but Pops would have been in there before the dog was in there. Like, what are we talking about? Like,
I would
you
have
know, like
both.
she lost her
Yeah.
mom there, but I'm
Yeah.
just like, whose idea was this? Whoever, it was a very, because like in the book, the way it's set up, there's literally just enough room for her to fit in this pod. So
Yeah.
that made sense. But they like went for a more
Giant sphere.
ball shaped situation. I'm like, if you don't get your ass in that vessel, like the escape pod, so that y'all
Yeah.
both like, or at least even if it wasn't him, because he had already like started getting sick from the radiation, so maybe he thought he wouldn't make it. But even if it wasn't him, it's like you just launched your daughter into space who can't speak the language of the planet you're sending her to, and where you know she's going to be super powered, with just a dog. Like you didn't even send like somebody who could look out for her, or at least be like her buddies, like so she wouldn't be alone. Like none of that. You literally
Yeah,
just launched her.
there were a lot of questions to that because like
It's like,
it didn't make sense because like if you okay, so like she gets hit with something that has kryptonite in it,
yeah,
right? And then like you see how the yellow sun, how quick the healing process happens when she has, the sun on her. So like
yeah.
how I guess it wasn't really explained how it was absolutely necessary for dad to stay behind.
Right.
And I think
To be fair, that there's no way he could have known that the sun would correct it that quickly if they
no,
hadn't been
because
there.
they said like when you go to this planet, you're gonna have like powers beyond,
Right, but
right?
it
So
wouldn't necessarily speak to like correcting the sickness that's already in their body. So that part I excuse, but I feel like I would have at least fucking tried. By the time you put the
this is
dog in
true.
there, you could have came and just been like, "Well, we'll see. If it
Right,
works, great. If it doesn't, at least you're not there by your own, whatever like that
right.
type." Before the dog went, the dad should have went. You know what
No,
I
the
mean?
dog stays because without the dog is
She
no
wouldn't
plot.
have had the motivation to, yeah.
Yeah, that dog was
That's the
everything to
source of
her.
her
And
empathy. That's where her empathy That's where her empathy stuff. And I
completely
get
where it's
that. I'm just like, that's why I said this is like a
yeah.
unserious take. But I literally looked at that and I was like, okay, Rose,
Like
because you
one of the
definitely could
things
have hopped your ass in that pod. That was too
very
funny.
much. I
Yeah,
do agree with that. Like there should have been some attempt. But like with my friends and my husband, like when we went to see their issue, because like with the backstory, I found for me that was one of my favorite parts of the movie, right?
yeah, a hundred
Because it
percent.
gave us like a really good idea of what Krypton was and
Yeah,
like, the fact that the planet didn't die in a day, it happened like over time and stuff like that. And I was
yeah.
like, oh, this is really cool. And
Added
apparently I
the
was the only one who
politics to
thought
it
that.
too, and all of that. That was
Yeah.
like another layer of like commentary too, because her dad activated this shield. For
Yeah.
context, the planet, you know was going to implode or explode or whatever,
Yeah.
and before that could happen, they had like a shield that they were able to activate that essentially like grabbed the whole city, put it in this bubble dome, and launched it into space so that it wouldn't explode with the planet. And
And
the way
that's
that
the issue.
we've been friends for too long, because I literally was like, oh, so they were like, we don't have enough time to save everybody, but we're gonna like sound the alarm so the rich people who are closest to the downtown
Okay, you
area
saw that,
can
right?
go.
That was the one issue that I had. I was like, oh, all the rich and
But
professionals
I
were
had an issue
saved.
with it because it sucks to see, but it's realistic as fuck. Like,
It is. And that's why, like I said, like even though I had that issue, I kind of like let that go over my head. So like I was
yeah.
fine with the backstory, but apparently like I was the only one who was fine because everybody else was like, "You mean to tell me like this giant ass planet dies? Everyone else knows that there are no Krypton, like nobody from Krypton alive anymore." But like there's this little rock that has the capability to create this giant force field and it's just floating in space and they didn't put out like a beacon. They didn't do anything for 8 years. They just like they had a huge problem with that, and I was like, oh, maybe, maybe
And
I
what's
don't
crazy,
know.
it was more than that though, because it was 8 years before she was born, right?
Maybe
Yeah,
I
it was.
just remember the number 8.
Yeah, so it was eight. So they did this whole. She said that the whole planet exploding and the city going off on its separate thing in the shield or whatever. That was
Mm-hmm.
8 years before she was born, and she didn't get sent to Earth as an infant. So it
You're
had the
right. She was,
capacity to,
yeah,
yeah, to exist and sustain itself for quite some time. Because
how
let's
come they
just say if
didn't?
we don't, how old was she turning for her birthday? I don't remember if that was
23,
expressed.
23.
23. So it was even longer than that. So you're looking at 30, 31 years worth of that space existing, and they can send. So it's like, if you can do that, then send the pod and ask for, and she can fly through space and so can Superman. So they could have come up with some system to like get help to come back.
This is some kind of
So that was
signal
like a
could
plot
have
hole
like,
for me. I was like, maybe that's some Superman thing that I don't know all of the
yeah,
details about, so I kind of just let it rock. But I was like, there was too many gaps in what was and wasn't happening in terms of that, and I was just like, oh, okay. I will say I did enjoy that part because it was very well done. Every aspect
yeah.
of it looked cool and like
It was
futuristic and
beautifully lit.
otherworldly. Yes,
It was
yes,
beautifully lit compared to the rest of the movie.
yeah, 100%. But I will say that it, while I did thoroughly enjoy that part, the part that I enjoyed the most was there's a scene where Kara is trying to leave the planet and she goes to chart this like intergalactic bus or whatever, and there's all these aliens and stuff on it. Ruth, excuse me, Ruth sees that she's going there, so she like hops on the bus, and that was the comedic relief in that scene was very much on point, because
That little
you
bus
see,
driver.
to me that's like a scene that I want to see in all these types of movies. It's something that, if you can say what you want about a lot of the Star Wars movies, but they do this really well where they're like, show me a scene where we get to see a everyday life scenario, but it's people or creatures from all different walks of the galaxy so that it feels like a hodgepodge of otherworldly but everyday scenario. So for
Yeah.
this to be like, yeah, we're trying to go to this other planet, so we're just going to hop on a bus. Can you imagine if you could just pay your bus fare and ride across the galaxy to some other planet? And as you're doing that, just like how you would on like a bus in New York or wherever you live, you're going to encounter weird people who are just about their everyday life, like people of all walks
That
of
was.
life. And
It
there's
was.
always going to be somebody who stinks. There's always going to be
Someone got
somebody
motion
who has
sickness
like,
growing up.
yeah, yeah, all types of crazy stuff. So it was like they combined it because most people like on planes get motion sickness, and obviously this is like to the ninth degree because this is a bus that goes through space. And one thing that I really loved was that the driver of the bus has this like little creature dude who's like his co-pilot slash translator person, and he
Yeah.
was freaking hilarious because he was just like talking his shit, and he's actually in the book. When I went and looked back at the book, I was like, oh, they grabbed this little guy straight from the book, and I didn't pay him much
Yeah.
attention because he doesn't have really anything to say in the book. But they were like, we're gonna take this little cute dynamic and make a whole freaking scene out of it. So
It was
they board
great.
this bus. They're dealing with, the weird shit from all of the aliens and stuff on the bus. And then this like crew of female presenting alien like ravagers, or what did they call them?
I forget what
Scavengers.
that. Yeah,
Basically they're like
the
space
tech thieves.
pirates.
Right,
Yeah,
right.
they come to like steal everybody's tech and rob everybody on the bus. So we get some more cool fight scene
They
between
had
her and these thieves. Where
like so Marvel, I feel like Marvel started it first with that like long hallway scene
mm,
where like you just see like the full extent of your main character's personality and just badassness as a whole. And
yeah.
like over the years they've gotten more creative with it. So to
Oh,
see
like
like that,
Shang-Chi had a really dope scene
yeah.
like that. Yeah.
Right. And so like we're getting that now, and like in this movie it happened in that bus, and it was hilarious. It was
Yeah.
awesome,
Yeah.
like she's glitching cuz she stole something from one of the tech pirates that allows them to move around. And she stole that, and she's like glitching in and out of the scene and stuff like that. Some of it felt very choreographed, to be fair, but like still had a good time with it. Like
Yeah.
it was really, really fun. I think it was like the one
Yeah.
time where you're
Yeah.
right.
That was my
It was
favorite scene in the movie
yeah,
for sure. Yeah.
yeah.
So, and that was cool, and I was like, okay, and they made the space pirates or the tech thieves all women presenting like aliens.
Mm-hmm.
And she ultimately like starts using her powers because she got close enough to a sun that would like, soup her up or whatever. And she defeats them, saves the people on the bus, all while this little guy is making his little hilarious commentary. And then she catches them and ties them up and is like, you know, do y'all know about Krem and where he's at? Because that's we're on the mission for that. So I was like, okay, this is cool. They reveal that Krem is doing this like um abducting women for the sake of their all male species and whatever that, and it comes from them, and you see that it's coming from one of the female presenting raiders or thieves, and she's like obviously like emotional and feels a way like it maybe could have potentially happened to her or somebody she knows or something like that, or just is like, okay,
Mm-hmm.
we're getting more empathy for these women from the fucking space pirate. And it's like, okay, that's cool or whatever. And I thought there would have been something else to that, but there wasn't. It was just like
Yeah.
moving right along to the next thing. And I think
And
that
that
being like,
undercuts it.
yeah, it does. It definitely does undercut it. And I was going to say, like, it's another area where it's like, okay, I get that it would be a very boring movie if they didn't encounter any obstacles on their journey to find Krem. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
That would be too easy. It would be boring. It would be like, okay, that was quick, type of thing. But this is where I was like kind of comparing it to the graphic novel because I was waiting for, yes, obviously the women being abducted and used as brides and held in cages and whatever just to further this species of all men, whatever, la la la, is awful. But in comparison, like I was saying in the book, it's literally like genocides happening. And they even go
Yeah.
as far as to be like, on this one planet, there's all blue people or blue creatures, and then there's all these purple creatures. And there's obviously like a, societal structure that pits the, well-to-do blue people over the purple people, and there's like a lot happening in the space of
Yeah.
one issue. and they count that as one of the, obstacles for her to get to the next thing, and then they show that it's a pattern. This is what's happening at multiple planets or whatever. And it solidified the villain in a like way more substantial way in the book to me than it did in the movie. Not that we want to see, too much of that on screen, but
Mm-hmm.
I just felt like it was like a weird, like what was the, I guess what I'm trying to say is the changes that they made in the movie didn't make me care more or make sense in terms of like visually how they were representing it, as to why they changed it. And I get it, they said it's
Yeah.
based on, so they didn't have to make it an exact thing, but yeah,
I
there was, the other things were there, just not that. So they
like
literally based
I
it off of like the first two issues and kind of the last issue of the books.
I wouldn't even say the last issue because for real, they took away my favorite ending.
Yeah.
Like we can get into that later, but like what I wanted to say was that like in terms of them not bringing up genocide, I I kind of understand why they wouldn't do that. Not just because of like maybe not wanting to address it, but it's a simple fact that after watching Superman, they kind of touched on that in Superman. So like
Okay, speak more
maybe
about
they
that because I had zero desire to
yeah.
see the Superman movie, so I didn't watch it.
No, actually it's in my opinion is better.
Yeah,
Um
I have heard that. Mention that on
yeah,
Blur.
it's better. It has its issues definitely, but like it's better than this. So like so in this one in Superman, um the villain Lex Luthor, he is able to get the United States government to like back this other country in their, you know, their eradication of this country, right? And these people, right? So it's very much a parallel to the US Israel Palestinian um, genocide that's currently happening right now,
Yeah.
right? And so Superman takes a very hard stance in protecting these brown people in this country that you know is being destroyed because of other people's guilt and greed and all of
Oh, and
that.
that's like all on screen. They make them brown
Yes,
and everything.
very
Okay, wow.
yes,
So they didn't
very
have
on.
to shy.
Yeah,
I assumed it
yeah,
was, we're shying away from this for the sake of la la la. But if they did it that on the
yeah,
nose in that movie, then it's like,
yeah. So like seeing that, I'm like, okay, I can get why you may have wanted to focus a little more on something else, like another tragic situation that is currently happening in the world and that we need to address.
yeah,
I just think they didn't stand for it as strong the way
yeah.
they did in Superman. And
Okay,
I get that Kara is still like in the beginnings of her journey,
yeah,
but like to make such a stance in one movie and then to make such a like wish-washy thing in the next
yeah.
just was very much a turn off.
Mm,
Um I wish it did stand 10 toes in it, right? Like
yeah.
instead of the motivation being her dog, because in the graphic novel, what I do appreciate is that Ruth goes most of that journey with Kara in the graphic novel. She's like, oh my gosh, she's doing this for her dog. And then Kara goes, no, I left my dog in capable hands. He's fine. I'm here for you. You
Yeah,
need to figure out where you want to be in this and what
yeah,
you want to do. And
yeah,
places this back on Ruth. And then Ruth makes this decision to not kill Krem, right? Like she
yeah,
makes that decision. Kara does
yeah,
not take that away from her.
yeah.
Kara
Because she
takes that
surely did in this movie. She for sure stole it from her, because it's like, you're
right.
protecting her from becoming like you, but then you still killed him anyway. And that was such a ick, because she was like, "This is for what you've done to them and what you did to my dog," type of thing. And I was like, oh, "Okay,
Like
girl."
really?
We
Like
almost got
please
there.
be right. Be fucking
Yeah,
for real because they took away a great kill scene in the graphic novel, right? They trap Krem in the Phantom Zone, right? He is there for hundreds of years. They say the first 100 years, he's like saying, fuck them, da 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 da, they ain't shit. I shouldn't be here. Like the second 100 years, he's kind of remorseful. The next 100 years, he's actually like, oh my God, I need to like repent and do all these things. By the time like we see them at the very end, Kara's older. Ruth is like really old, she's wizened, she has wrinkles, like she's well into the older phase of her life. And they bring him out of the Phantom Zone. Krem is on his knees. He goes, "Oh my God, Ruth, I'm so sorry. I can't believe I did this to you." Da 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 da. They kick him, and then Ruth runs him through.
Yeah, that would have been really cool to see like translated on screen too, just
right?
because it's like, oh, it's not enough to just, yeah, you've done too much.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And like they let all this time go by, and Ruth is still like, nah, I think I need this to happen now. And Kara's like, period. I'll set this up for you. Like, girl power.
Yeah. And I felt like they even could have done that, like how you were saying you knew that the shift would happen where we weren't getting the story from Ruth's perspective. I thought it would have been really cool even if they just switched it and it was from older Supergirl's perspective. You know what I mean? Because they could have still done it that way, and then we would have still had that really cool ending.
Yeah.
But I guess they're from a cinematic, point of view, it's like we can't say where Supergirl will be at that age because blah blah blah, whatever other movies, but I think if they made her older enough, then they could have done whatever they want with her life in between there, and it would have still been cool.
Yeah, I feel like they took some of the best parts of that graphic novel and said, "To hell with this." And
oh my gosh. Prime example of this is, y'all, I grabbed my copies. I'm somebody who had to get the paperback, and I love that we have all the editions between us. Okay, so I got the traditional paperback when it first came out, and then y'all know I'm a sucker for a sexy hardcover, so I had to get this one, and it's got like the spot gloss on the cover, and it's got a sexy naked cover.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, they really did their big one with that. And then you have the what do you
compact one.
Yeah, the compact
one. It's only $9.99.
Yes.
And yeah,
so we love it. They're like stair step in editions. I'm probably gonna give this paperback away to somebody because I don't need 2 copies of it, but they're stunning. And one thing that I was like, okay, I didn't expect it to be a copy, but if you look at the interiors of this book, okay, when I first seen this art style, I was like, oh, it's giving like 70s fantasy art vibes. And they like went crazy with the color use in this book. It's like absolutely insane. But when I seen this art style, I was like, oh, I'm automatically gonna love this. I just already know everything in here is like super lush and colorful and beautiful.
I like that your copy is far, like the color is more saturated, so it comes out clearly. Where I feel
that is one thing about the
yeah,
they're on a different type of paper and everything.
Yeah,
but that's why it's more accessible. They can make it $9 because they switched up the quality of it or whatever. But the colors and the stylized art in this is stunning. And I was like, okay, this lends itself for an opportunity for us to get the like Guardians of the Galaxy style, super colorful romp in space, kind of campy vibes. I felt like that was such a missed opportunity because the majority of this movie is like browns and greens type of tones. Like the brightest time was when they were showing the flashback of her home planet, And even that was like greens and golds and silvers type of vibes, you know?
Mm-hmm.
The most colorful part that we got, I guess you would kind of say, was on the bus, and that was really the color of some of the aliens there.
Yeah.
And but that scene was really like super black
Still
because they're
dark.
in space, so you don't see a lot of it. And like I would have loved to see like the bar scenes where you're seeing all of these different like alien ruffians or whatever. If they all had like bright, fun color skin and whatever, and they just were happened to be wearing black or whatever, that would have brightened it up quite a bit. But the sheer like the color palette in this book was chef's kiss. Like it's
Yeah,
actually
agreed.
stunning. The art is so freaking like detailed. It's insane. So I was like, oh, and it's a, you know how they, prime example of this type of thing is like, you know how people hated on Thor Love and Thunder because it was kind of like
Yeah, it's
campy and
campy.
cheesy. I expected not the same tone but the same like colorful approach to this movie based on
Mm-hmm.
how colorful and crazy the book is, and it was not that at all. I was like, dang, that was a missed opportunity.
I think, like I said, I'm gonna have to like keep. I think watching Superman made me see why they would make the decisions they made in terms of
Hmm.
color, because
They wanted to
they
match.
want no, like in fact, like they want Carl's identity to be like a 180 to Superman, right? He is this
Okay.
naive, like he's like for everybody, he's always considering everybody and all of that, whereas Kara isn't.
Yeah,
And
they make
so
jokes about
yeah,
her calling him a nerd and all of that.
right. And so like in Superman's movie, it's so bright. It's very, it does feel almost like a comic book. Like it's very
Hmm.
light, very bright, all of that stuff. Like even when they are dealing with the heavier topics, it's still bright and light as hell.
Yeah.
Um, but because they want her to be his foil, everything from personality to cinematography is just like a complete 180. And like you
Yeah.
said, I feel like that's very simple choice they made did such
Yeah.
a disservice to the
Yeah, because
overall
it could have been
story.
colorful and still been grunge and gritty.
Ex- exactly. Very
Yeah.
much so. Like I yeah, I'm gonna what I will say also is that because of how dark it was in Supergirl, the CGI was bad. Can we acknowledge that? I mean, it wasn't all
Yeah.
that great in Superman either, but because it
Yeah.
was light, like, at least Crypto didn't feel as fake. Did he not feel fake?
Yeah, it was kind of egregious how I was like, I felt like, I know that it would have probably cost a lot more, but it would have made more sense for there to be a lot more real dog, and they just did some CGI around the edges for a lot of stuff, but no, it was like full on. That is not a dog.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like based off the CGI, I know you were petting a puppet or somebody's hand or a stick or some stand-in. Like
Yeah,
it
yeah. Foam
yeah,
ball.
this yeah. Like the CGI was just bad in this movie. And it just made that worse.
Yeah.
You know, like I guess I'm gonna say it's fine. Like if you're not
It's
looking
fun.
at it too hard, yeah, it's like if you're not looking at it too hard, if you're not if you're in there for a time, good, like sure, turn your mind off. You
Yeah.
can enjoy it. But like if you're questioning anything about this movie, it starts to continually fall apart. I think, like I said, I had a lot of issues, but like one of my issues was the fact that because that theme and that messaging surrounding feminism fell apart, and because she focused so hard on her dog, and this is our first introduction to her, I'm like, in 2026, is this the kind of superhero we want to get behind?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
right? Like, we're dealing, like, our world is on fire right now, and the role of a superhero and the genre itself needs to change. And is this the change we want? I
They're
personally
like,
don't
this is
think
as
so.
close as you're gonna get. We let it be a girl. Here, damn. That's what it's giving.
Right? It
That's what it's
did.
giving. Yeah.
It really did feel like that. Like they're like, look, we need a girl power movie. Let's do this. And then they gave it to someone who, from what I've read, I think this is like her first foray into like writing such a big for a big studio.
Hmm.
And so like I question how this was pressure tested, how, what focus groups was this put in front of? Because I really wish I could do one of those to be like and just ask all the questions.
And by the way,
Right? Because like
like, oh, what were your thoughts? And Keisha would be like, I took notes. How much time do you have?
because I probably like I have more written down and I have not. We're probably not gonna get. We're already at like an hour and a half. We're not gonna get into all of it.
Yeah, that's fair.
But yeah, like I'm like in 2026. Is this a story that we want? Like after like especially last week when we talked about superhero fatigue and all of that stuff and how people are irritated, bored with movies like to do this with a reboot. Like, because mind you, we already had a DC cinematic universe. Nobody asked for this reboot. They could have just stayed on HBO and do what they do best. Right?
Yeah.
Like, they could have stayed with that. But, like, Superman was like, after that movie came out last year, they was like, oh, all right, y'all are really doing something with this. And then, like, for this movie to be so lackluster in comparison, I wanted more. I really wanted more. I wanted it to be a lot better than it was.
Yeah, that's fair.
We deserved a
Yeah,
better
there was a lot
show.
of just why, like, and it's like if you're already gonna be having those things like that kind of slow it down, it's kind of like you made a conscious decision to go this direction when it could have said a lot more easily with
Yeah.
less effort in this direction and made more of an impact, Yeah. Like
Mhm.
even down to the choice for like her costume or whatever. I was like, okay, I get this grunge approach. She's like day drinking. She don't give a shit about that outfit. It means nothing to her. He literally gave her a cage of an outfit. He was like, this is so that people know that we're good. And she's kind of like, man, fuck that. I'm just here because I got sent here. I'm not trying to be doing all of that high collar shit you're talking about. So I get that, but it was also kind of like a very weird choice that she did not wear that suit the whole movie, and then she like recovers from her green sun poisoning and is like, yeah, I think now's the time to put on my skirt and boots. Like, bitch.
There was no character development to show why that decision was
Yeah, I
made.
was like, this is not, I don't understand. Like, that made no sense to me. It was kind of like, it was kind of laughable, honestly. I was just like,
Yeah.
oh, okay. I
Yeah.
guess that
And
it was very much giving like somebody was like, oh dang, she's got to be in the suit for some of the movie. So when can we make her change? Like not like
that
a
part.
I'm making a conscious decision to be viewed as this symbol because I'm making a conscious decision to try to help other people besides just my dog. It wasn't like that. It was just like a oh, my I've been wearing these jeans for 2 days. Maybe I should change. That was the
Screaming.
energy.
I think speaking to that whole green sun thing, right?
Yeah.
Okay, another plot hole I had a problem with. Um so in that scene, right? Like right before that, this is right after, the black family gets slain. She like hymns up this guy and she's like, yo, I need this thing. You need to show me. And the guy's like, all right, but you got to put this hood on. She
That
travels,
there was
right?
no sense to that. And they
So
showed that
she
she could
had
see
X-ray,
through it.
right?
Right.
Right. She has X-ray vision, so it was like fine, whatever. But then like she gets off of the craft and like she realizes that she's on a planet with a green sun, right? and that impacts her greatly. Like, she can die from that. And
Yeah.
my thing is, for these bad guys to know that this green sun hurts her this way, but then
Yeah.
still not be smart enough to maybe not put her on a planet with both a green and yellow sun, doesn't make sense, right? Like, if I was a
Well,
bad guy, I would make
granted, they were
sure.
just taking her to where Krem and them were. I flipped it on the other
Was
side. I was
it?
kind of like, yeah, that was the same planet. So my thing though was like, if you can see, wouldn't you have like sensed it or noticed it or something? Like, so that to me that should have been another scene where she like beat everybody on the ship down and took control of the craft, because she did need to go there because that's where Krem was and where they had all of the brides, but quote unquote brides,
Mhm.
but the to let it like get to a point where you're just there, and it just turned out that Ruth was on her in her bag and was like, "Yeah, I'm going to sneak onto this craft just to follow her where she's going, even though she was trying to leave me." And so
Okay,
she happened to be there to save her slash rescue her from that.
then I have a question then, right?
Hmm.
If Because I wasn't entirely sure that, like, what happened on that planet was Krim and his people, right? So I guess my question is, and this is just like to get a better understanding.
Hmm.
They drop her on this planet with this green and yellow sun, right? The green sun comes up. She is like out of it. And
Yeah,
Ruth has the time to pull her away and drag her somewhere safe.
yeah.
If they knew Krim was on that planet, how come they didn't drop her,
They
and
literally,
then like,
there's a scene where they say, "This is as far as we go. This is as close as we get." And you can
well,
see
why
Krem's
not?
ship in the distance. But because they knew they weren't supposed to be bringing her to him. And Krem was likely at that planet because it was the closest situation where he knew there was a green planet. But it wasn't just the green sun. Green sun. It wasn't just the green sun. There was another one. So
Right,
the
right.
rotation was going to change once it shifted. And
Okay.
I think that Krem was under the impression that if she did find out or whatever, she wouldn't have
Mhm.
time to do XYZ. And he had full faith in, his ship and how all that was set up or whatever. I don't think it was like planned that those other people would take her to him, because they seemed like they were afraid. She had to like threaten them to take her there,
Okay,
and they
yeah.
were like, "Yeah, no, this is as close as we get. You can see it
Okay.
way over there, but we're not getting any closer than that."
Okay, so maybe I was just irritated with the movie by then.
It's
Like,
fair.
for real. I'm trying to
Yeah.
like make sure like I'm covering all my biases and this. Like,
No,
maybe
I
I
get
was
it.
just over it by then, cuz like I was questioning that. And
Mhm.
then I started questioning, like, how come and arguably that was one of my favorite parts in the graphic novel, because it
Mhm.
showed that Ruth was able to take care of her and do all the
Yeah.
things that Carl was
And
able
I
to
would have
do
been
for
here for
her.
dinosaurs in the movie. Give it to me every
Right.
time.
I'm like, why would you take that away?
Yeah.
But I
Yeah.
guess
They
because of
had
the
exhausted their CGI budget on
I was
Cars.
just I was just about to say that. Hey, maybe I was just, yeah, by that time I was just over it. Like,
Mm.
but
Yeah,
like,
another side of that too could have been that, he did plan for that, but he didn't plan for Ruth, so he expected her to die before she even got to his ship.
that's
That was the
another
more
thing.
likely thing. Huh?
I think Ruth should have died maybe twice in this movie.
But she had
Like,
her bubble suit. That was one of the funniest scenes too, was like, okay, they're like, she's like, Kara's like, okay, yeah, I agree, you can come with me, whatever. Let's just go to this random thrift shop and pick you up a spacesuit that you can wear like a necklace and press a button and it pops on and off. I was like, okay. Cool story, bro. Yeah,
right.
let's go with that. And she went from, it was funny because Ruth wasn't able to operate it
Yeah.
without help.
Yeah.
like a couple of times because Kara had to help her with it and Lobo helped her
Lobo.
with it. But she
Mm-hmm.
was able to navigate in it enough to survive and save Kara. So there was like, yeah, it's just there
And we're not
was
going to talk about how the suit looked different in two different scenes. Like
it's
one,
blown up in one and it's like
yeah,
deflated in another. And I was kind of just like, okay, maybe she had to have it on and inflated in order to stow away on the ship to get there. And when she landed, it was deflated because she had already taken her helmet off and whatever. That's the only explanation that I had for that shit. Because I was like, we're just going to rock with it, you know?
yeah, yeah. There was a lot of
We're going to
things where you
suspend
just,
disbelief here for just for the sake of that.
yeah.
But yeah.
I think like above all, so like while we are looking at this kind of differently, like we do agree, like it had a lot of issues, right?
Yeah.
And all that. Okay, so I go online
Hmm.
afterwards and I'm
Yeah.
seeing so many people say, "Oh my God,
Yeah.
this was
She went
such an
full blurred library on us.
because I couldn't like get over how I was like, all right, this is fine. So like I had posted on Threads and I was like, I saw Supergirl. Period.
Period.
That's it.
Saying a
All
lot
right.
without saying a lot. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm like it's fine. And then like I went into a little bit more details. I'm like, there was a lot of plot holes and but like Homegirl did her thing in her role, right? For what
Yeah.
she had, she and then I'm seeing like so many people just say, "Oh my God, this was such a great movie. This it did so well. It talked about feminism so well." And I'm like, "Am I misreading this? Am I missing?" I'm like, "No, like I'm I'm fairly literate when it comes to media,
But
like
that's the
and
difference,
critical."
though. You're talking about someone who is literate's definition of feminism versus someone who's like, oh, yeah, somebody, a superhero in a skirt. That's feminism.
Right. And I guess like that's what was explained to me because like I said, I was ranting about this. Like, I
Yeah.
don't get how all these things are and everybody's like, you believe people know what you know. I'm like, oh,
Hmm. It's real
my
easy.
bad.
It's real easy to be like in your bubble of people who know better, and then to go
Right.
out and be like, oh, okay,
But then
that's not
like I'm
normal.
seeing posts from people within the comic book industry, people from like um something got sent to me from I'm not gonna say this person role because it'll probably like say exactly who this person is, but it got
Mhm.
sent to me and I'm like, this person is educated. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I would assume that they have some kind of literacy. Like, they've been able
That's,
to like analyze this, but no,
yeah.
I get what you said. This is another way of me thinking that people know more and all of that. Like, it made me question. I was like, yo, am I interpreting this wrong? And so
I
that's
mean,
why
and then even outside of that, you have people who like when they go to the movies, they're like, yeah, I want to turn my brain off and just let it be what it's gonna be. Like, so they're not like consuming it critically by any measure,
yeah,
and
and
then
that's
they may catch more things on the second time around or whatever, like that type of thing. I'm finding
yeah.
that that's a lot that's happening a lot.
Yeah, like we all have our mediums where we turn our brains off and we're like,
For
yo,
sure.
just here for the vibes because in this particular space, this is where I decompress. So
Yeah.
like very valid, right?
Hmm. Yeah.
But then to for some folks to be online and be like, yo, if you are saying anything wrong about or if you think anything negative about this movie, then you must not like women or you must like view things a particular way and I'm like no we can have conversations with nuance, we can hold two things with one, and be like, yeah, there are some things that are good in this but
But hot
like
takes don't live in the realm of nuance. It's very much we're saying this in absolute so we can get a reaction out of people one way or another. So
and that's frustrating, right? Like I
agreed.
get why we do that but it's so frustrating because like because then it feels very disingenuous. You're not able to have those really important critical conversations and like
Yeah.
critique and question the things that we take in, right?
Yeah.
Like the fact that because then like now I feel like while I had a lot of issues with this, I now also have to defend Supergirl in a way
Hmm.
because a lot of the people who had negative things to say were very misogynistic, you
Yeah,
know, very, very harmful, very
yeah,
toxic, all the
yeah,
isms. And it's
yeah,
a lot of men who were saying really dumb things. And I'm like,
yeah.
this is why we can't have nothing.
Yeah. I think it's interesting to look at a lot of those because it's like if you switched her to a man, would your critique stand?
Oh, apparently she'd be really cool because then she would be what's his name? Keanu Reeves. Because his dog died.
Right.
That
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying though, like if these people making those types of critiques of this movie were to change her to a man, would their
Mhm.
critiques be the same? Yeah. So that's why it's like it's interesting, and I hear you about wanting to defend it too, because another thing that kind of chapped my ass is that opening the apps today, looking at it and seeing that they're like, oh, it's not doing well in theaters. Supergirl's not doing well in theaters. And they're comparing the, I think it was like however many million, I think it was like 4.7 million tickets sold or some shit. Or
Mhm.
not tickets sold, dollars that it made in its opening weekend. They're comparing it, saying that it's really bad and comparing it to the box office numbers that the Marvels did. So it's like people are gonna push the narrative that they want about these sorts of things because it's like we've talked about the Marvels a couple of times, and it didn't have the same type of issues that this movie had. It was just like
Yeah.
very much and that was another thing we talked about too. Like if they wanted this movie to do well, then there's, certain steps that should have been taken to like solidify it against the like fanboy haters who were going to just shit on it just because it's a female led story.
I
And
mean, like based off
they didn't
of
do that. They set it up for failure also on the scope of we're gonna pitch this movie like it's gonna be Supergirl and Lobo against whatever big bad, and that was not what happened in this movie at all.
I think it was a very poor bad decision to have Lobo in that film because like you said because of the way they marketed it
Hmm.
and because of the way he showed up in the movie, he very much felt like a patriarchal stand-in for like approval,
Oh,
right? Like
100%. Yeah, because
right?
like,
And so
yeah, that's
yeah,
facts.
he
That's facts.
he and like if you were gonna have anyone in that role, at least you could have like the very gender fluid, badass and all of that, like who's kind of like if you're gonna have anybody in that role, fine, Lobo. But like it still felt like he was there for all the dudes who were watching this movie with their femme partners, and he was something to be like, yeah, girl power, them, great, like I'm like that's completely unnecessary, especially like if the way they were marketing it to, like you said, with Ulta and everything, they were looking for a specific type of audience.
Yeah.
So Lobo was not necessary for that audience. He
If I'm
shouldn't.
being so for real though, Lobo was definitely geared towards that audience too, because we're all gonna check for Jason Momoa. The the crossover of those two demographics is mostly the same
You're like it's a
thing.
Venn diagram.
100%. But
I
another
guess like
another piece to that is like
I
when oh, I'm sorry, continue.
no, I say I would have agreed with that if he actually had a purpose outside of like
He
comedic
didn't have to have a
relief.
purpose. He just had to have his hair and maybe have
Oh
his
my
shirt off,
goodness.
if we're being
Can't
so
with you.
serious. I'm just trying to think from like a marketing perspective. Like, let's be
Yeah.
so realistic. Like, nobody really gave a shit about Aquaman. Let's be so for real.
I did.
Okay, well, most people didn't, babes. Most people didn't. But dang it, I lost my thought that quickly. Jeez. But
You
yeah,
thinking about his
they
abs.
yeah, like whew. But no, they definitely, there was definitely an opportunity there to do something different with it, and it was just kind of like thrown in as an afterthought. And oh, that's what it was
Very
going to be.
much.
On New Blurred Order, I think it was Bad Ty who said that, you know, the Lobo being in the movie didn't hit for him because they didn't put respect on Lobo's name because they didn't show his powers or his ability or whatever. Blah, blah, blah. And I was
Yeah.
like, I get that to a certain extent. My counter argument to that was like, we didn't need to see a lot from Lobo because it wasn't a Lobo movie. Like, he shouldn't have
They
been.
marketed.
They right, exactly. So that they shouldn't have marketed it like it was going to be a Lobo movie if it wasn't going to be. First of all, second of all, it because it's a Supergirl movie, I wouldn't expect Lobo just having some scene in there to like overpower or outshine her role in her own movie. So I get why they didn't do that. But it's also boils down to how it was marketed for me again, because it's like, if that was going to be his only role in the movie, then it should have just been
A
marketed as a
quiet
Supergirl
cameo.
movie and let him have the cameo. And I thought that if he was going to be in it, it was because whatever is happening next in this DC space was going to be like another Lobo movie. But then I hear, actually, no, there's no intention for that. It was just he was under contract for another movie and he wasn't about to do another Aquaman.
Oh, so that was real. Cause like, okay,
I
when
don't
the
know.
movie came
I
on,
haven't fact checked that, but it's just like, wow, okay. So that makes a lot of sense, but that's even more reason to not market. Like, he literally had his own like popcorn bucket carrier at the movies. It's literally Lobo on his like space motorcycle, whatever.
because men needed something.
It's I hate that. I hate that take because it's like it wasn't, men needed something, but then make it a substantial thing, like make it a buddy movie then, because you're lying to your audience before they can even go see it, and all you're doing is setting them up for a letdown. Because
Hmm.
people will tell you, like, he crossed paths and like barely interacted with the main characters because he was on his own mission. So for those who haven't seen it or those watching, listening, hey, hi. But he literally popped in because, and his whole thing was, okay, I'm Lobo. I'm a badass. I happen to be chilling at the bar when all this shit pops off. I'm
Yeah.
a bounty hunter and I'm looking for this fool with red hair who happens to also roll with the brigands that Krem rolls with. And
Yeah.
so he just happened to be there at the bar, and we get this like one-liner note from Supergirl talking to Ruth, because Ruth's like, oh, Ruth overhears him saying he's looking for this dude, and he's with the brigands, and Ruth's like, oh shit, say less, like we looking for somebody with the brigands too. Like, she looks at
Hmm.
Supergirl like, oh, I'm gonna go talk to him real quick because we can roll together to find the brigands and we can help each other. And
And
Supergirl's
that's
like,
it.
nah, girl, do you know who Lobo is? He's
And
da
that's,
da
yep,
da da da, he's this, that, and the third. Again, cutting Ruth off at the legs before she can even,
constantly.
and it's supposedly in the interest of protecting her, like he's just gonna pop off and go ham on Ruth. But then Supergirl turns around and is like playing like this ditzy person who's like, oh my gosh, we're on a this vacation and we're doing da 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 da.
Valley
And
Girl
he's
came
like,
in strong.
and so there's like a joke of like, when he runs into them later, he's like, "Oh, aren't you that ditz from the bar?" And she's like, "Oh, I could say the same about you." And he's like, "Touche." And it's like, well, where did that? Oh, we have all this fear for Lobo go, where you're like calling him a ditz to his face and da da da. It's like there should have that, to me that was a plot hole, because it's like was that you just trying to like make sure people didn't know who you were? Because that wasn't explained. There was no reason for her to actually have
None.
stopped Ruth if that's not, how he is, and if you were just going to put yourself right in his path anyway. So then when we see him again, it's on the other planet where, the murder of the black family happens, and Supergirl rescues the kidnapped women, quote unquote brides, and so he comes across in his space motorcycle again, and the way he ends up fighting all of those people, the same brigands. But it's also just
Mhm.
kind of like, if he's really like, just if it's Lobo we're talking about here, then he should have been able to hem somebody up to find out where this other dude is, but that doesn't happen. He just goes off and we don't see exactly where. And then when we come across Ruth in the brigand's prison cell, he's in the cell next to her. And it's like, how does that even
Wow.
make sense? Like, none of it made sense. They literally were just like,
Kind of.
where can we throw in another scene with Jason Momoa? Like, that's literally what it was. And then she ends up fighting the dude in the cell and getting the keys so she can get out. So it's like, so you're telling me Ruth, our good sis, didn't have the capacity to do any of this other shit, but
And
Lobo couldn't get out of the cell, but she could.
and
And
that
she
that
ends
was
up
another
letting him
issue.
out.
Like
Yeah.
none of that was explained prior. Like the fact that Homegirl was able to jump from the floor to a vent.
Yeah.
How? How
Silently.
was that silently? We're
Yeah.
doing aerial flips down a rope, in one point of this movie. Like,
Oh yeah,
how
yeah.
was she like there's so much that happened that was not explained.
Yeah.
Like we have no context for any of this stuff. So it's
So
like
then it's like, did she have the skill and Kara just kept stopping her before we got there? And if that's the case, why?
like I feel like I shouldn't like as someone who is being introduced to this brand new character, I shouldn't even have to question any of this stuff, right? Like
Yeah.
there
Yeah.
should be a framework in place that we are all operating under, and I should be able to connect the dots.
Yeah.
And I wasn't able to always connect the dots. And if you're trying to get people into a new universe, into a new character, at the at like the bare minimum, that's what should be happening.
Yeah.
And it just didn't.
Yeah.
Like um yeah, before I completely forgot what I was going to say. But like yeah, it really struggled. There was
It makes me
always
wonder if they're planning on bringing her back as something else later or something.
and you know what? I honestly think that if we got another Supergirl movie, the character development that we wanted to see in this one would actually happen in another one.
Hmm.
I feel like someone believed that they had a lot of time and they could have like spanned this over like 2 or 3 movies. And they
Hmm.
were like, yeah, I have this time with this audience and I'm going to like really give her something to grow from, cuz like based off of how we ended the movie, there's like this sliver of hope that she's going to try and find her way. But
Yeah,
like
because she does decide to go home with Clark.
right, but then like understanding that this is a reboot and understanding that there have been a lot of like I'm not gonna
Flops.
call them yeah, there's a lot of flops in the DCU in the cinematic universe. I guess like why would you think you had enough time to do it in more than one movie,
Yeah,
right? Like this should have been tighter. Like
and they
assume
could
that
have.
people right, assume that
Yeah,
this is your last chance at introducing this universe to casual fans in general. Assume you had one shot.
yeah,
And I feel like much like, certain demographics, they believe people are they're gonna accept whatever is given.
yeah. It's yeah. That's where
Mm.
I get where you're coming from about like having to defend the movie to some degree too, because it's like,
Yeah.
you know, when you're dealing with the fact that the same people who decided to move forward with this like nixed the fully filmed Batgirl movie before it seen the light of day. It's like, you know, you may not have all the time that you think. Like, not y'all scrapped a whole movie that was fully done, like, just because. So it's just kind of like, yeah. Uh, and then that's another thing too, on another aspect of the superhero fatigue part of it, because it's like, I'm sure the expectation was like, oh, it's another super movie, so it's a given, and it's like, but it's not.
It's not.
It's
We're
not.
we're we're tired. We we want better, and this is not better.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, I at the very bare bones of it being a Supergirl movie, it's a superhero in a skirt, so it must be girl power, and it's a girl and her dog movie. It delivered on, and Jason Momoa's in it. It delivered on everything that they mostly said that it was going to be. And if you look at it and watch it without thinking critically at all, it's a
it's
decent
fine.
superhero movie.
Yeah, it's
Because
fine.
there were things that I liked about it, but it's like the things that disrupted it for me and took me out of the movie kind of outweighed the things that I did like about it.
Yeah.
But it's also like the average person wouldn't notice those things or have the same qualms about those things that I did.
And I hate that for us.
Yeah. Yeah, same. But yeah. So I would say if you're going to go see it, definitely catch it in 4DX, because all of the chaos of that experience will definitely keep it interesting for sure. Because it was like, there was the scene where they're like the last big fight dust up scene where they're in the dirt, and it's all of them, like all of the brigands Mad Max style, fighting against everybody and whatever. That
Mhm.
scene in 4DX was insane, absolutely nuts. Like, they have, the way the seats are set up in the row, we always sit in the front row for easy access to leave and whatever, bathrooms, whatever. And that's also like the row where there's buddy seats for anyone who might be in a wheelchair, or have a guest who's with them in a wheelchair. The end seats in the 4DX rows have seat belts on them.
Oh,
So if you're there, if you're going there as a differently abled human and you're like, I want to experience this, you can park your wheelchair right next to the end, transfer to the seats, because they start off
that's
low and they
nice.
raise up once the movie starts. So you could transfer from your wheelchair to that end seat and strap in,
Nice.
babes, because it's like literally that's what the seatbelt is for. So that way you can still experience it, because it's like that.
Mm.
It's like that.
I love that for you and anyone else who wants to do it. I'm gonna stay firmly planted on the ground.
Yeah.
I guess for me, I would just say going with absolutely no expectations. If you can,
Yep, that'll
like,
do it.
yeah, if you're the type to analyze what you're watching and experiencing, maybe sit this one out. But
Yeah. Sit
if
this
you
one
can
out
make
and pick up the book, because
yes,
Supergirl, Woman of Tomorrow was a solid read, and it's visually
yeah,
stunning.
Supergirl, and I can see why they adapted it off of this. Why the movie is adapted off of this, because
Yeah,
I firmly see this comic as a reference text for Supergirl.
yeah,
Like, I see it as the one that everyone goes back to fill in the holes, to expand on. Like, at first I had an issue with the fact that every single issue they were on a different planet and all that stuff, and I'm like, no, it makes sense when you think about
it
like the
makes it
grand
really fucking cool
scope.
too.
Right. Like, because then someone can like pull a Star Wars and like be like, hey, well, they're on this planet. I'm going to do a whole run because there was some questions that were there that I wanted to get answered, right?
Yeah.
Like, or they can dive deep into like something else. Like there's just so much that can be detailed in there. Like they could have even like there's this one issue where Ruth doesn't have like all of the story. She kind of just like bases it off of other people's stuff, and it could be told by Car's perspective. Like that is a reference text. That is a Bible for Supergirl, and it's absolutely wonderful.
Yeah.
So like if you do like analyzing things, read the comic, 1,000%.
Yeah. Comic was an
Wait.
excellent time and proof
Yeah.
that we can, with a resounding Pink Riot approval, say the book was better, people. The book was better.
I thought you were gonna say that we could say nice things about white authored comics.
I said what I said. The book was better.
The
And
book
that's
was
where I'm
much
leaving.
better.
Yeah.
The book was much better. But like, if you can suspend belief, go forth. Have fun.
Go forth. Have fun. Let us know in the
Like,
comments what you thought about it once you watch it. And definitely let us know in the comments if you read the book. And definitely let us know if you did both and if you agreed with any of the points that we made or disagreed. We're not here telling you what you should or shouldn't do. We're just giving our point of view and perspective, and yeah. Keisha's like, no, actually, we are telling you, babes.
Just a little bit.
Just a little bit, for sure. Pick up the book though, guys. It was a good time.
Yes.
I had a great time seeing it for the sake of, comparing and contrasting and getting to Kiki with my good sis, Havoc. We will definitely be doing more of these because it shows that whether the movie is good or not, we will have a great time, talking about all the sides of it. And if you enjoy this type of content, tell a friend to tell a friend. Like, share, follow, comment, subscribe. Pink Riot Comic Show on all US platforms. If you liked this episode, scroll up, scroll down, check out another 1, 2, 5, 7 episodes. And if you can't watch it, just let it run in the background because those streams actually do help us. And if you liked seeing it in this way, but listening is more your vibe, don't worry, we got you because we's a podcast now. Just search Pink Riot Comic Show podcast because there's like over 150 platforms where you can find us. The following Saturday after the Thursday air date, it is available as a podcast on those platforms like Spotify. We love to have you interact and rate and review on those platforms as well so we can grow our engagement, grow our community in that respect. If you haven't already, check out our link in bio where you can access things like our Pink Riot merch and cop the dope shirts and sweatshirts and hoodies and things of that nature there. We have some pretty cool designs. And you can also access our Patreon. Shout out to all of our Patreon subscribers. We literally do a happy dance every single time one of you get added to that list. We're grateful for the community there. We have a free 99 tier, so you can just pull up for the vibes with no commitment. And we also have several paid tiers. The higher up in tiers you go, the more access that you get to us and what topics we cover on the show and what things we're doing moving forward. Prime example, this episode is brought to you as pre-recorded because y'all, we are outside for con season, but usually we are live at 5 every single week on Thursdays, 5 p.m. PT, 8 p.m. ET. So don't worry, we got you every week at that time because we at the same damn place at the same damn time every week with no weeks off because we love you and we love what we do. We'll holler at you next time. Bye. I definitely found more. All right. How many variants are there?
11.
Damn. Go ahead. No.